Hello and welcome to the Backpacking Podcast, brought to you by OutdoorVitals.com, makers of Performance First ultralight gear. I want to give them a quick shout out for their Skyline joggers. They're absolutely awesome for the trail. They really air out the nether regions because they are vented down there around the crotch area. I love the back pocket, the front pockets. I love the elastic band so I don't have to wear a belt. And they're super comfortable, light, breezy, at only 6.5 ounces. So thank you, OutdoorVitals.com. Go on there and order you some today. Now, last week, if you haven't heard last week's episode, is episode 223. And that's what I'm doing here right now, is telling you this is part 2 of that episode. We actually split it into 2 parts because John and his wife and family, they moved cities and they are just getting settled into their new house. They've literally only been there a couple weeks. And myself and my wife had a baby. Well, actually, she had the baby. I didn't really have the baby, but I was there to support her emotionally and stuff. And the baby's doing great. Thank you all so much, the people that have already watched last week and gave us some kind words and wishes. We're trying to figure out when to sleep. I literally just woke up from a nap. I threw on the Skyline joggers and my little hoodie from Outdoor Vitals. And here we are recording a quick message before we start today's episode. So again, if you haven't listened to last week's, make sure you go back and hear part 1 of Mr. Backpacking with Jason, sir, as our guest. And he tells us all about he and I's first trip kayaking, going down the river together, my first overnight camping experience when it comes to kayaking, and he broke his ankle on the first night. So what you're about to hear is part 2 of that story. I hope you enjoy, and John and I are going to be recording this week and getting you all some more episodes of awesome content. Also, September 9th, it's on the books right now. We have a guest coming on for our first live stream of the new season. So I'll give you more information on that in the future, but I will tell you it's a thru hiker that has written a memoir, and I read it and absolutely love it. So hope you all enjoyed today's show. Thank you for the support, and we'll catch you next week. One of the problems with day 3 was we stopped early on day 2, which left us, we thought that we were only going to have, 2 miles or something, or a half mile the last day. But we stopped early, and I think we had about 6 miles, 5.5 to 6.5, somewhere in here for the last day.
Still not bad. I mean, when you're kayaking.
And Scott was slaying the fish, man. We would paddle some, and then he would go a little bit ahead of us. And I think he probably caught 7 or 8 fish while we were out there. And while we were catching up, he would just be over there fishing. He had this awesome kayak that sits on top of the water, and he sits on top of it. It had it's almost like a camp chair sitting on there. He let me ride on it for a little bit, which we'll talk about in a second. But I rolled up, and if you watch my video, you may have seen this. I rolled up. Jason and Scott were huddled together. Scott was like, I need some help. Jason rolled up, ankle in tow. And I pull up behind him, and I break out the video camera, and I'm like, what is going on here? And Jason, what were you doing?
Well, I usually wear glasses, and I didn't have any glasses. I had some in my food bag, but that wasn't anywhere I could get to. So Scott had hooked the fish. He caught a fish, and the treble hook went through his thumb. So Scott's over his hand shaking. I mean, he has a hook through his thumb, and he's like, help me. I'm like, pliers, So Scott's like, break off the end tip of the treble hook. And I was like, I can't see it. And I keep trying, but my eyes can't see it. And I'm like, I couldn't get it. Scott's like, let me try. So his hand is just shaking, on there. And Jeremiah's like, what y'all doing? And I was like, try to get a hook out of the stuff. What else? This is the way the trip's going there. And so Scott, finally gets it in there, and he's like, is that it? And I was like, I think so. And you can hear it go kick, that cutting of the metal. And then finally he pulled that out of his thumb, and he was just like, oh my goodness.
I didn't put it in the video, but he cut it twice. He cut it, and I guess it didn't get all the way down to the barb, because if the barb is in there, you got to push it on through before you can cut that barb off. So he's like literally over there grunting and pushing the rest of the hook through his thumb. And he's like, and he snaps. You can hear that metal.
Sounds like the worst possible thing. That's awful.
He's like, and then he tried to pull it out, and it didn't come out. He went back in.
Oh,
He had to,
oh,
yes,
that's miserable.
yeah,
And this was
yeah,
right
and that's a
above some rapids too. Like we were
yes.
really, really close to a set of rapids. And once he got it out, he was like, all I was thinking was, I just don't want to go over these rapids with this hook in my hand, because then he wouldn't been able to paddle and it would have been a bad situation.
Yes. And he had a fish flopping all over the boat. Finally, I grabbed that fish and got it out of the boat. Only thing he was thinking of was get this hook out of my thumb, on there. And I was like, yeah, what's left of this trip? What's
In,
going to
in
happen?
retrospect, I probably could have helped instead of filming, but it's an
Yeah,
essential role.
that's so kind of you,
You know,
Jeremiah, to document
I,
everything.
I have my contacts in. I don't wear readers, so I could see perfectly fine. But I
I'm
just
over
didn't
there
want to get
squeezing the pliers. I'm like, I can't see it. I can't see it.
Oh my gosh.
so
Yes.
we paddled on down river, and we're getting fairly close to what's called Devil's Jump. And that's like the main big rapids for the trip, the finale. And so,
But there's some good ones before that, definitely.
yeah, there were some good ones before that, which is my next point. So, three of the guys have sit on top kayaks, and then Jason and I are in the same model of kayak, which is called an Old Town Loon 106
Correct.
is the model. And they're both sit in. And so Jason and I have all these decked out and packed up with all of our gear. And I'm thinking I'm really enjoying this kayaking trip, despite the hook in the hand and Jason's ankle injury and the horses invading our camp. I'm like, this is awesome. Backpacking in 95-degree weather is not nearly as good as kayaking in 95-degree weather. So I'm thinking, oh, well, wonder what those other kayaks are like. I'm sitting in this sit-in, and I'm like 6'3" ish, 6'4", 6'2", somewhere in there. And
You're
so
not 6'2".
I'm I say I'm 6'2". Yeah, there's the kayak.
Is this the
There's
kayak
the
right
loop.
here? See, I'll make
Yeah,
this a
so
little bit
you
bigger
get
so people watching online can see this.
so that you crawl into, right? Your legs go in, and then the kayak's kind of partially covered
100%
in.
awesome. Great
Yeah, and they are
kayak.
fantastic. Look, it's got a dry well for those people that are watching the podcast. It's got a dry well in the back, so you can keep your stuff in there dry. I got nothing wet. It's got extra storage around your feet in the front. It's got extra storage, like its own little dry well to put your phone and stuff in, kind of in your lap area. It's got bottle holders. It's got everything you need. And I think, well, I also want to check out these other guys' kayaks because they're different models, and they're also really good kayaks. All these guys have really nice kayaks. So Scott, well, multiple guys offer to let me try their kayak out, and I say, yeah, Scott, I'll try yours out. And he said, well, you're tall. Let me raise the seat up. And so he raised the seat up as high as it'll go. And one of the problems is that hurts your equilibrium because you got a center of gravity, and I'm not a big kayaker. Jason's taking me on my first down the river camp overnight. I've been down the river a few times, but you get the feel of it. Now, I didn't know it, but we switched kayaks like a quarter of a mile before the next set of rapids. Nobody told me about these rapids or how good or bad they would be. And so he has this seat as high as it'll go. He's just got his fishing pole stuck in the rod holder. And we take off on down. And I keep thinking, this is awful tippy. I don't feel like,
It's
the
awful
sit in,
tippy.
this is awful tippy. The one that I was sitting in, the loon that you showed a minute ago, you feel like you're sitting like at water level. So your center of gravity is like, it's tight, it's good, it's well balanced. On top with that chair as high as it'll go. That's all I'm thinking. This is awfully tippy. And since I'm sitting so high, his paddle's the same length as the others, but it's a paddle I'm unfamiliar with. It's like half the weight or less than the other paddle I'd have been using. And where I'm sitting so high, I can't get it very deep in the water. So what happens is I go through the rapids, right? And on the high seat setting, not thinking anything about it, over the rapids, first thing, tip over, dude. I mean, instantly going over the rapids, turn over. I go totally underwater. It's completely submerged. Luckily, I'm wearing my life jacket. It's totally zipped up. I'm prepared. My PFT, good to go. And I bob up, right? The life jacket brings me back up because the water there's what, 20 feet deep or something? It's deep enough that you could drown.
Oh, wow.
And I look up, and the kayak is floating up, turned upside down, floating past my head. His Yeti's floating down to the next set of rapids. His fishing pole's totally gone. It wasn't strapped down or anything. I wasn't expecting to turn. And there's just stuff floating down the river to the next set of rapids. And I just think, I got to get this kayak. I don't know how much it costs, but I don't want to tear it up. You know, it's probably $2,000 or $3,000 kayak. So I grab it. I know I got to try to get it over to the shoreline. I can't, so I abandon it, and I grab the Yeti cooler, and I drag it over. There's still stuff floating everywhere. Scott, he's in my kayak, which I had borrowed off of one of Jason's buddies, and he grabs the kayak. So I take the Yeti cooler over to the shore, and I have to swim back over to the kayak with my hat on, my sunglasses still on. I had my hat was strapped in. I had still wearing my Crocs. And I'm swimming, and I get back over to the kayak and take it, drag it over to a rock. And Scott's like, my fishing pole. He's like, I'm going to go back up here to the rapids and see if I can find my fishing pole. So he takes my kayak back up there. And, dude, complete disaster. Terrible idea to switch kayaks in the first place right before going through. Scott's like,
Terrible.
I'm sorry. He's like, I was thinking I should put that seat down. I shouldn't have had it set so high. I think, Jason, that rapids that was before Devil's Jump, you didn't have any problems going through it, did you?
No, I think Scott went down, you went down, Matt went down. I don't know, but I seen people going down, and Sean went to the side, and he's like, "You gonna pull over?" I was like, I'm going. And I went ahead and just shot it right in there. And I went through it, and my little loon went right through it. The loon is a good kayak. It is a great, great kayak to go down rapids and everything. The balance in there. And he's right. He set you up for disaster, you know, when Scott's with the seat and everything on there.
Well, I was just on here looking at them online. You can find them kind of all over the place, and they sell for about $1,100 on average.
Yeah, that's about
so
worth every
nice little
penny.
kayak.
If you're
man.
if you're into kayaking, it will do great for the lakes. It does rapids. It goes fast. I carry my gear in the back, and I literally just about drowned my kayak. I mean, it was underwater. And when I got done with the trip, I opened up my dry hole. Everything was bone dry and everything. I mean, I'll tell you what, the person who probably did the best out of everybody kayaking was Jeremiah. And it was his first time down there.
Listen, you got to stop that, because I don't want him getting a big head. So don't, don't do this to him.
Really well. I mean,
don't do this. Don't do it. I'm gonna have to hear this now. Like, we're gonna hear about all the greatness of Jeremiah's kayaking abilities.
If we hadn't switched kayaks, there's no doubt in my mind I would have glided through everything.
Yes, yeah, he did great. I mean, he did good. Even Devil's Jump on there. Yeah,
Devil's Jump. So we got up there, and before you get to it, there's a pull off, and Jason's like, you need to go up there and climb on the rocks. Can you tell him a little bit about that?
Well, at Devil's Jump, once again, the CFS is a big thing. If the water is running higher, you know, if the CFS is like 600 or better, Devil's Jump's really not too bad. Usually you can kind of get through it and like this. But if you read about Devil's Jump, when the water is low like it was, you're going to have like a 4-foot drop off, you know, of just like a waterfall. You're going down, and you're going to hit some rocks and everything. So I didn't want to say that to anybody else, because I know nobody else has read it or done any research on it but me. And so wasn't going to say, hey, you know, it's going to be dangerous. All I was saying is I'm going to be the first one through it. And so, you know, if something happens to me, somebody else can come get me and help me. And it's pretty gnarly. You go through a tiny corridor of rocks, so you're definitely going to hit rocks. But it's wild, isn't it, Jeremiah? I mean, it's really wild.
Yeah, and what happened was Jason, we wanted him to be the first one through, and somebody right behind him. so that if something happened or, he flipped and couldn't get out or hurt his ankle or something on the way through bumping those rocks, one of us could get to him pretty quick.
Yeah.
So me and a couple of the guys climbed up on top of the rocks, and you can see I put the video footage if anybody wants to check out Jeremiah Stringer Hikes and look at my kayaking video. The thumbnail is a broken ankle and then Sean flipping over. But we went up there and recorded Jason, and we was like, come on, go ahead, full send, buddy. Jason goes through there. And dude, the first thing we see is Jason go over this waterfall he's talking about and just go ka-thunk. And he goes through. And Jason, what was it like? What was going through your brain as you were heading over and about to hit?
Well, when I was getting closer, so I've went through this a bunch. Back when we first started doing the river, we would portage. They want you to portage around it. The portage means you're carrying your kayak all the way up the hill, back down the hill through rocks and everything. So, years and years ago, we said, forget that. We're just going to go through it, And so anyway, when I went through that, when I got close, I was like, oh, this is going to drop a lot farther than I thought. And so when it drops, that's not the part that gets you. It's all the water that came into my boat. So after I went down, the water just covered my whole boat. It spun me to the side, slammed, hit the rocks. Then it spun me backwards and just yanked me. And then I slammed, hit these other rocks. And I mean, it's like big jolts, like boom on there. Then I came out and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to sink. Because my boat was underwater. I'm paddling it like this, like get me to the side. I tried to get to the shore, to the side over there. And so I get to the side and, I can't stand up. I can't really get out of the boat. I'm kind of stuck there holding. I see Sean's kayak just start floating down the river there. And then it was upside down. When Sean was in his kayak, the kayak was upside down. I see it go by. I could see people fishing because this is right towards the end of the trip. Devil's Jump's like the last big one. And I could see people up there fishing, and I hollered, and I was like, hey, that kayak's coming. We'll get it. And they was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, we're okay. But we wasn't okay.
Nope.
Nope. I was like,
not okay.
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. We're okay. That was definitely the hardest time I've ever had going through that. I mean, it hit me so hard I thought it was going to break my boat, especially from behind, because it spun me all the way around and hit me so hard. And Jeremiah just went down. Jeremiah didn't even get no water in there. How? He didn't even get his boat wet. I don't know if did you portage and not tell me?
Well, let me interject here. Let me interject and I'll answer that question. Jason, I was videoing him going through, and these rocks are like the size of houses, dude. So you can only see certain parts from certain perspectives because it's creating a whirlpool the way it's going through here. And, like he said, it spun him around. And so he goes through and just disappears for, I don't know, at least 5 seconds probably. And we're up there standing on this rock, and Sean's down there ready to go behind Jason, and he disappears. And we're like, uh-oh. And, Scott and I are both like, he lost it. And this is in the unedited version. You could see it, but I edited it out for cinematic purposes for the YouTube video. And we're like, he lost it. And then one of them's like, nope, I see his paddle. Wait a second. He's up. His boat's full of water, but he's up. Dude, he come into frame.
That's
great. He was floating, but his whole boat was underwater. It was ridiculous. And then we see Sean go through, and where Jason drops down, he's talking about this little drop here. Sean didn't make it through the drop, dude. He hit a rock as you were even right before you go through the drop, and just gets thrown off to the left off the kayak, and his kayak floats. And
his was much scarier because you couldn't really see him where he went.
Yes, he disappeared too, but on the left side. You went on the right side. And so we were like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? We seen his kayak keep floating, and he stayed in there. And of course, he was wearing a life jacket and everything. And we seen his paddle poking out, and it was a very distinct paddle. And we was like, oh, there's his head. Yep, he's bobbing. All right, he's okay. he had to swim on down to where Jason was at, I guess, and get his kayak. And we
He
had
said he
to.
had to swim like a half mile to go get his kayak.
Oh man.
I said, okay, well, I want to be next then. And I said, I'm going to. You're so anxious, dude, because you've been thinking about this
The
for
whole
a
trip.
couple of days
The whole
now.
trip.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
the whole time you're like, the last thing we're doing is going through this hardest part. And I don't have experience with this kind of thing. So I said, I'm going next. I'm going to get it over with. So I got in that kayak and went, and we had picked out a way that you could go through. I was like, I think I can clear it on the left. And sure enough, I picked my angle and went through, and it just shot me right out to the end. Didn't get spun around, didn't get any water in the boat, nothing. Good to go. And Jason, I helped him, over to the side. He's like, "Can you help me dump this water out?" And I was like, "Give me just a second. I want to get these other guys coming through." So I paddled back up there and got some more video clips of the other guys.
So what you're saying is, you left your friend with a broken ankle with a
Yeah.
kayak full of water to go get video.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure I got this right. I mean, I'm listening to the story and I'm like, I want to make sure I got this right. The shot is so important that he left his broken ankle friend with his kayak full of water to go get a video shot.
Who can't stand up?
Who can't stand up right now? Yeah. Okay. Just making sure.
We thought it was sprained at the time.
Are these the lessons you're going to teach your child, Jeremiah? That's what I want to know.
I'm going to teach him the craft is important. The craft is important, bud.
Always put your art first. Always put your art first.
It took us a long time to drain that boat, too.
Oh, man.
Yes.
15 minutes to get all that water out of there.
I have a plug on the boat. The loon has a plug. And so we was lifting it up. So they're sitting there holding it and holding it and holding it. And, there wasn't much I could do but watch them. Scott came and helped us too on there. Scott came and helped. But, I mean, there wasn't nothing you could do. Just sit there and wait and wait and wait. And it's crazy, just crazy.
Jason, what does it feel like seeing your son abandon you like that?
Well, I said, go get it. I wanted him actually to go up on the rocks and get the picture, but he stayed in his kayak. I was like, no, go climb up there. But everybody was so anxious on the other side, they was just coming. Nobody really wants to wait too long. You might talk yourself out of it. So, and then, Jeremiah and Matt and Scott all seen me totally drown my boat, seen Scott or Sean go over in the boat, capsize. So I'm sure in their minds, they're like, man, what are we getting ready to do?
I just like the fact that Jason's going, no, go get the shot. Go get the shot.
Yeah, go get the shot. Yeah.
You're being raised right, Jeremiah. You're being raised right.
Get the shot. Get the shot.
Get the shot.
How many times you going to be at Devil's Jump to catch it? And it is
that's good.
Really, really good view on there and everything. And I really enjoyed where Jeremiah videoed me going through it, and I could hear him saying, they're like, oh, he fell out. And Scott's like, somebody go get him. Somebody go get him. And then you could hear Matt say, no, he's still up. The boat's underwater, but he's still going. He's still paddling. And that stuff is hilarious to me.
That's great.
I got home. I was like, Doc, look at this. Look at what's going on here and all that. But even like when we finished the trip, everybody, we had to get the kayaks, Jeremiah, 250 feet up a hill.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, and I couldn't really help. So I was like trying to carry their gear, up the hill, grab what I could, dry bags, whatever.
On one foot.
Try to carry. Yeah, I mean, I was hobbling on that foot, like this, and crazy. And I mean, actually, when I got home, I took the kayak and carried it around to the backyard and everything.
So Jason, let's fast forward past the trip now and let's get to the hospital.
Yes.
Let's talk about what had to happen at the hospital.
Well, I got home Sunday on there. I took the kayak out of the truck, took it around to the backyard. Dot was like, you need help? I was like, just get out of the way. What's she going to do out there? Next day, I was like, I kind of hurt my ankle. And she's like, that looks bad. And I was like, yeah, but it's really not hurting. I can wiggle my toes. I was still in the wiggle toe process that, I could wiggle and they're okay. So Monday, I went to work. I took my hiking pose. And I just used my hiking pose. I went to work. And so I went and checked on a couple of jobs, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get this X-rayed. So I went ahead and called my doctor, and they said, come in the next morning. We'll do the X-rays and see what's up. So I went Tuesday morning. So it's happened Friday. So this is Tuesday. And they said they came back and they was like, you want the bad news? And I said, I thought you're supposed to say, is there good news and bad news? And they was like, there ain't no good news. And I was like, well, go ahead, give me the bad news.
Dang.
Go ahead, give it to me. They was like, you broke it. And I said, do what? And they said, you broke it. I said, no way. They said, you broke it. And I was like, okay. And they said, we got you set up for a surgery Monday. And I was like, okay. So I go that whole time. They kind of bandaged up my foot and kind of put it in a sort of cast, I guess you would say. They kind of wrapped it up. And then that Monday, I went for surgery that morning. You got a picture of before my surgery, maybe, of what I was kind of wearing? Oh, that's after my surgery. They call this a nerve blocker. They put this nerve blocker in. It had like tubes, and it's like an IV drip that was going into my leg to, I guess, help nerves and to block a lot of the pain. And thank you, Lord, for it. At Central Baptist, they was saying this has only been out maybe 10 years, and there's only a few hospitals that do it. And they did that for me. So I was in my leg for about a week, and I finally got those pulled out of there.
Well, and I think I wanted to save this picture for last, even though technically it probably should have been shown first. But this is yes. Jason getting ready for the surgery.
Oh, I like your hat.
If you've ever wanted to see Mr. Backpacking and with Jason wearing a hospital gown and a shower cap, you need to get on the video and watch this.
That was, I told Dot, I was like, you better get some pictures and footage. And she did. She got some more footage of me, especially she got some of me when I first got out of surgery and so forth. And, of course, I was happy and laughing at that moment, first out of surgery and all that. But it's pretty wild. I will say that nerve blocker is something pretty wild, when the bag was empty, Dot and I just ripped the tape off my leg and pulled those wires out of my leg. You could see it like a catheter that they put in there. And you just pulled it right out of my leg and sent it back to them and mailed it back. But I guess some other lucky individual will get that. But that was pretty wild. It's my first surgery in my life. It's the first time.
Well, and you told me something before we got on air here, before we started filming this. You actually told me this is one of the hardest things you ever dealt with in your whole life.
Absolutely. Yeah. At the time I was like, well, this won't be anything. I got a sprained foot, I'll get through it. But for me, not being able, I work construction, so I'm outside. I go once a week, almost just during the week, to go over the woods. And for me being home, as long as I've had, it's driving me absolutely insane. And you go through all kinds of emotions, to be honest with you. I went through the boredom, the sadness, and, everything you're going through, but Dot's been a real trooper helping me out. Guys have all called, checking in on me. But there's nothing I can really do besides sit and prop my foot. And that's all I do. I sit and prop my foot. I wish there was a Netflix show of something good I could watch or something. I started watching Stranger Things again. I started, there's just only so much you can read, only so much you can watch, only so much you can do just sitting there. And, that's probably been the toughest for me, not being able to get outside a lot.
It would have been the most comforting possible thing you could have done during this whole time. You could have listened to the entire catalog of the Backpacking Podcast, and you would have been in joy. I mean, it would have been pure bliss for you for days on end. We got over 220 episodes. I mean, what a way to spend your time.
I will agree. Yes. Hey, you know what? I'll probably be sitting here for a little bit longer. I'm hoping to get a boot on my foot real soon, and that's my biggest thing is to get back outside. That's my biggest goal.
Yeah.
Whatever physical therapist says is yes, but I'll be working double time besides just what the physical therapist says. And I'll be back better than ever, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Mr. Backpacking with Jason. Hey, listen, man, when I say that you're our favorite guest, I mean, we're just going to be unbiased here. No, I take it back. We're going to be completely biased. You are our favorite guest on here, man. Like, we love having you on here.
Thank you.
You aren't
Well,
just a
you know I
guest,
love
man.
you
You're a
all.
brother. We've done a lot of stuff together, and you two are inseparable. So we have to have you on here.
Well, it's getting ready to be you two are going to be inseparable because you're getting ready to have kids together. So you'll have kids.
We're
you'll
not
have
having kids together. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I guess I said that wrong. Okay. I mean,
My wife might have a little something to say about that.
Friends. You know, so y'all can be boyfriends. But no, y'all will be having, kids coming over and so forth. So I've enjoyed my time with Jeremiah. It's been nice. It's
like it's the end of the world. Well, there was that time when I used to hang out with Jeremiah.
I'm not dying.
I love you both on there. And, we got many more years of getting along.
Oh, yeah.
Me and JK is getting a little older. Jeremiah's like still before middle age. He's still younger and everything.
I'm bringing up a generation of outdoorsmen, man.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, I was going to say, my son and I were doing trail life this fall. Not this coming week, but the week after. He and I are doing his first backpacking trip. So we're going to do an overnight at the Gorge. He's 6 years old.
Look at that.
So,
that is awesome.
Yeah, dude.
That is awesome.
Yeah, man.
I had a thing where I said to my buddies in a group text Jeremiah's in, if you had any advice to give Jeremiah before he has his son, go ahead and give it now on there. I told him, I said, get your son tough enough to take care of a bully, but don't become a bully. Well, I thought that was pretty good advice. So, yeah. But, any words of advice for Jeremiah, make sure to leave them in the comment.
Hey, there you go.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
I would ask you for a poop story, but you already gave it to us, man. You
hardest poop ever. Hardest poop I ever had in my life.
One-footed pooping.
Twice
on one trip.
Twice. Saturday morning, Sunday morning. Sunday morning I was real close. I mean, I was like the horses. I was like the horses.
That's great.
Camp. I was like, all right, boys, I'm just gonna have to just poop right here. Like, y'all turn your heads.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I mean, Jeremiah was taking a shower right in front of everybody. So, I mean, what's it matter? He's taking a bath right in front of everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, having that river there and having the biodegradable soap and being able to just go hop in after you pooped, I mean, that right there is next level cleanliness on trail. It was fantastic. Nothing you could do.
Did you even have to bring your bidet?
I brought the bidet, but never had to use it because I had the river there. I did break Sean's soap, and I did ask him for his address so that I could send a new one, but he didn't give it to me. So I think he just doesn't want me to have his address.
Probably true. It's probably true.
Yeah, I broke his soap.
Break his soap.
Yeah, and I did break a little piece on his kayak too.
What? What did you break on the loon?
The loon, there's a. This is embarrassing. So,
oh no.
I'm not an experienced kayaker, and I never strapped gear on or anything like that. So whenever we were taking the kayaks up, I was like, okay, well, let's just carry it up there. And so I tried to pick it up, and we started to carry it up, and then the strap on the back, like the handle, it just the plastic broke, and that part of the kayak just fell to the ground. And I was like, oh, and then he come down there, and he's so nice too. He's like, you got to take everything out before you carry the kayak around. He's like, it's too heavy with all your gear in there from the trip. And I was like, I'm so sorry, man. I'm such an idiot. But he was so nice about it. And I said, don't worry, man. I will buy a new piece. So I got to call Loon. I looked online and couldn't find what the name of the part was or how to order it. So I had to call him, and I had to get his address. I might have to steal it from you or have you to deliver it if he doesn't want me to have it. And you can give him that piece and give him the soap that I broke. We'll hook him back up. I'll make him as good as new, man.
I think he'll be okay, bro. He'll be all right. He'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll still take care of it.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. You guys sound like you had a blast there.
We did. It's such a great time. I break a leg.
Just break a leg, guys. Have a great time.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, it was all in all, it was a lot of fun, man. I mean, even though, I have a big hiatus here with my foot, it's all in all be good. And you know what? I'm hopefully halfway through this thing with my foot. And, my biggest goal is to get myself to physical therapy and get going again, get back outside.
Very cool,
And if
man.
anybody ever has an emergency on the trail or something, don't wig out, breathe, assess the situation, say, is this life or death, or can you tough it out like a big boy, and so forth. And, just if you're in a dangerous or something bad happens, assess the situation before you start calling for help if you really don't need it. And of course, I really didn't need it on there, but I didn't know it was broke either at the time. But I don't guess I probably would have changed anything really on there,
except maybe not breaking your ankle.
Well, I mean, once I found out I hurt my foot, I mean, as in, like, if I knew it was broke, like, I'd be like, oh, well, if I had a bone sticking out of my leg, yeah, I would have been like, all right, we gotta do something. But I mean, I don't know. Where I kept it in the water, it really didn't turn colors until like Sunday night, Monday. I couldn't put a shoe on there, but I was just like, it's not really bruising purple and black like you'd think on there.
Yeah.
And so who knows? Well,
I'm glad you're out the other side. I'm glad you made it out the other side.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Ibuprofen, Tylenol. That's about it, really. Keep taking those two and wait until they can give me a boot. Please give me a boot.
I can't tell if you're needing a boot for your foot or if you're talking like a Canadian. So
well,
I don't know.
I asked Dot a boot. I asked Dot. I said, "Well, I'll be able to go like hiking. Like, can I hike like a mile with that boot on my foot?" She's like, "No, not at all."
No.
And I was like, "You sure?" And she was like, if I could just walk like a mile, just into the woods, have a nice vista, just let me sit there, in the quietness, I would, yeah. But it's so hot right now. I need to be at the lake, kayaking, jet skis.
Now, here's the thing, though. You could go and sit by the lake. You could dip your legs. You could dip your foot in the lake, can't you?
I don't know. With the boot, what I have on right now, I have to put a bag. Like, we got this.
Oh, yeah, because it was broken.
Bag.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, where I have to put it over to take a shower and stuff. And it's pretty hard getting that on and off. But yeah, I just don't want to sit there at the lake. I want to do stuff.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'll be all right.
But do you have a friend with a pontoon or something where you can go out on the lake with that, or?
I do, but right now, at the moment, I can't even like drive or anything. I can't. I mean, if I don't have it elevated, the pain's like sharp.
Yeah.
Things like, I don't know if it's my nerves or the nerve blocker's not in there anymore. I don't know, but I can't drive anywhere. Luckily, my guys have been coming through at work and so
That's
forth
good.
like that for me too at the job and all that. But then nobody care about that on the podcast.
No, we're all cheering for you, man. We're hoping this thing heals up fast, like really
Thanks,
fast,
guys.
really
Thanks,
fast.
Guys. And Jeremiah, man, tomorrow's a big day, bro. Love you, brother. And you got this. Right back at you, JK. Love you too, man. Keep that water heater good and taken care of, okay?
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Right, Jack.
Love you
That's
too,
awesome,
man.
man.
I got to go pack my to-go bag. Probably should have packed it 2 weeks ago in case the baby come early, but
That's why stay
now's
prepared.
the time.
Hey, you got time, man. Unless your wife all of a sudden comes down here in the next 5 minutes and says it is time. But it'll be good, man.
If Bridget says, "Hey, I need your help," I'm sure you're going to say, "Hey, let me go film this real quick," and I'll be right back.
Let me set up the camera.
Remember, stay there with her. Stay there.
Yep.
With her.
Yep.
Hey, are you going to video little Jeremiah coming through? Or are you going to watch?
I hadn't even thought about it.
I don't think we need to see that.
I mean, no, not for us. No,
I don't think that needs to be on the podcast. Hey, here's a new live stream for you. Wow. Ratings will go up real fast on that.
I just didn't know, like, for yourself, later in life, to be like, there's my little boy coming to life, but right at the first moments and everything.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. I better run that one by Bridget. I don't know if she wants footage or not.
Yeah, that's definitely a question for the wife, I would say.
Was you in there, JK, for your baby?
I was there when my kids were both born. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. I was there. Ellie was born like a normal sized kid, and Jack weighed less than 4 pounds.
Oh, little fella.
So little tiny dude. Well, hey, listen, Jason, thank you so much for being on here, man. We can't wait to have you back. So.
Hey. Yep. No problem, my friends. I always have a blast. I always have a blast on the Backpacking Podcast.
Well, hang out in that green room, and we'll be back with you in just a second. Jason is awesome. I just want to say that. Jason is awesome.
Yeah, and he's a trooper, man. Tough.
One of the toughest guys I've met. Easily one of the toughest guys I've met. There's a lot of people that say, get me out of these woods right now. Not Jason.
Oh, man. Dude, there's people that are just overweight that have called the 911 on the satellite just to be hauled out at the gorge.
Yep.
Just
not
sit
Jason.
down on the trail and say, I can't walk anymore. I'm not going anymore. Not Jason. Survives an additional 48 hours, broken ankle.
And goes to work the next day.
Yeah, goes to work.
And then goes to work the next day. He's the man. He is the man. Yep.
Fun.
Hey,
fun time with him.
So we're going to have to shoot straight. We are in a little bit of a gray area right now for the podcast for the next couple weeks because we can't guarantee that Jeremiah is going to have the wherewithal to be able to film. We're going to try, but I just don't want to make any promises. We may have to take a 2-week hiatus to give Jeremiah a chance to recover from the lack of sleep he's about to experience over the next couple weeks. And I'm really glad for you that it's happening before you have to be at school.
Yeah, summer break still for me, so it's going to be surviving advance there once we go back maybe for the next bit. We'll see.
Yeah, but man, I'm excited for you. I am so happy that you're going to be a parent because we need more good parents out there. We got too many dummy parents out there. And you know my feelings on that. So, Jeremiah, congratulations. I can't wait to see Junior and get to see this little man. It's going to be fantastic.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Well, for myself and for Jeremiah, on behalf of Outdoor Vitals, we will catch you guys on the next one.
Adios, folks.